You're listening to How to 20-something, the best podcast that helps both men and women navigate their 20s and learn how to adult across all aspects of their lives. We're going to focus on career, relationships, finances, fitness, nutrition, and all of the common challenges and obstacles a typical 20-something will face in this post-college life. I'm your host, Jess Diamond, and I am the CEO and founder of Jess Diamond Coaching, where I help young professionals get their shit together, gain their confidence, and own their life. No one prepares you for this adulting world, so allow me to help you feel like you are no longer a chicken running around with its head cut off, and that you actually know what the hell is going on and what your next step to take is. Welcome to How to 20-something. Welcome back to How to 20-something, where today's topic is all about dealing with life changes, and this is different than the shared experiences episode because although a lot of shared experiences bring about change and the uncertainties that come with it, that episode was designed to normalize what we're all going throughout our 20s. This episode is more about your mindset and relationship to things changing, whether that change is planned or unplanned. You see, we all desire change. We all know personal growth and development does not happen without change. We also know that in order to improve what you're currently experiencing, you need to make a change somewhere. Yet, when it comes time to actually make said change, we panic and cue in our fight, flight, or freeze survival mechanisms. Change is uncomfortable because it's forcing you to step into a newer version of yourself that you have yet to explore. And as I've said many times before, that unfamiliarity is terrifying to your brain. So its a natural inclination is to resist it at all costs and convince you that where you're at right now is perfectly fine, even when it's not. But when you think about it, change is everywhere. It's in the seasons. Like right now, by the time this episode comes out, it's October and the leaves are changing colors. It's in nature where a caterpillar has to change into a beautiful butterfly. It's in your life as you move from elementary school to middle to high school to college, and then out into the real world. And while I know these types of changes are expected and gradual and consistent time after time, it still exemplifies how unavoidable change is and how you're not alone when you're experiencing your own versions of change and resistance to it. In your 20s, it's everywhere and impossible to outrun, or else you risk your mental health plummeting. I did a workshop literally a year ago. It was last October, and it was on change. It was centered around how change is a choice. And by that, I mean you get to choose how you view the changes happening in your life. As in, are they happening to you or for you? And I know that is such a redundant statement, and I hate it when people say it to me. But it's true, especially when it comes to changes that lie outside of your control. Because there are those two different types, as I said. It's the ones you choose and the ones that just happen. For example, you can choose to move. You can choose to leave a relationship or get in one. You can choose a different career path. You can choose to stop hanging out with some people. You can choose to move in with your partner. You can choose to buy a house. You can choose your hobbies, what you do with your time, what adventure you want to go on, and so on and so forth. You can't choose losing your job, being broken up with, someone treating you poorly, your work demanding you be back in office, your friends not inviting you out anymore, and anything else you think of. Most of the times, the changes out of our hands usually lean on the negative side of experiences, and the ones that we decide on are more positive because it's a form of planned personal growth rather than forced. It comes from a sense of control. We all want to feel in control of our life and what we're experiencing, and sometimes that's just not possible. But what we can control is how we respond to the situation at hand. When a change is happening that is undesirable and out of our hands, we have two choices: sit and sulk or do something about it. And sure, sometimes you have to sit and sulk first and then go do something about it. But in my experience of working with 20-somethings and being a 20-something myself, the sitting and sulking usually takes up a lot more time than we originally intended, and we can get caught up in it, which prevents us from taking necessary action that will help move us forward and adapt to our changing environment. So this episode is to help you do something about the changes you're experiencing. One thing I do know for certain is that your ability to be adaptable to the changes occurring, or I guess be more resilient to them, does come with time and practice. Your 20s are the first time you're experiencing these major changes all on your own. So you need to begin with acknowledging that first and to stop being so damn hard on yourself for not knowing what to do. And not all of these changes are negative. Like the first one you're probably going to experience is moving out on your own and being financially responsible for yourself. That's an exciting change. It's a bit scary, but exciting nonetheless. Mom and dad are not there anymore to cook you dinner or make sure you're staying healthy or making sure that you're showing up to work on time. It's all on you now. Regardless of whether the change you're thinking of is negative or positive, it's still something unfamiliar, and that's what's scary because you have yet to navigate these territories. It's like if you went on a brand new hike. There's no map yet, there's no path to follow. You don't know if you make a turn and see a bear or reach the end of a cliff. You're walking through uncharted territories, and you need to take things slow, rather than sprint through and hope you come out on the other side scotch-free. But the more times you go on this hike, the more familiar it's going to be and the more clear a path is being made, and you'll even be able to know if you turn left, it's the edge of a cliff, so don't turn left. I've personally experienced a lot of change in the first 3 years of graduating college, from moving out on my own to losing my job, pivoting careers and building a business, leaving a relationship, moving to a new city and state, and finding and creating a new friend group. There are a lot of micro changes that happened within each of those transitions, like moving to a different apartment when I was in Orlando, or going from unemployed to a new corporate job to self-employed, and then changes in my schedule, changes in my diet as I became allergic to dairy, etc. But when it comes to change, whether it's exciting and expected or awful and unexpected, you're going to be unsure as to what the hell you're even doing. Your approach to it, whatever it may be, is all in your mind. And similar to how we view and experience fear, our brain's only function is to keep us alive, to survive. And while the change you might be experiencing will not actually kill you, it's the fear of the unknown that is going to make you tremble. Even if you know this change will not mark the end of your demise, like if it's getting a new job. Your brain is going to fight you every step of the way until it knows for certain that you will live through this moment. Any negative emotion you feel towards this change that is occurring is totally valid. It's going to make you uncomfortable, but it's also a natural part of life. And it's important to note that if you test out something new and realize you hate it, you're an adult now and you can leave that situation or experience, as long as you can confidently say you gave it your best shot. I will say, a majority of the discomfort that accompanies change is the lack of information you have around this something new. Meaning, you need to ask yourself, or if there's another person involved, then ask them questions. Questions that come in the form of what, how, and why. You need to gather all the information as you can to get your brain on board and minimize the unknowns. So some questions can be, why are you making this change? What are all the ways it will benefit you so you feel encouraged to continue on rather than scared because it's uncharted territories? And how can you stay on board? I'll give 2 examples. One for when a change occurring is your doing and one where it's not. The first one is with my life. It's when I plan to leave my job. We all know I chose to leave my job and pursue my business. Unless this is the very first episode you're listening to, then hi and welcome. And in 2022, I left my full-time job and moved to Orlando. I didn't move to Orlando. I moved from Orlando to Charlotte to pursue my business as a life and nutrition coach for young adults. When I did that, there were a lot of changes happening at once. My source of income was changing. My daily schedule was changing. My location and environment, my gym, the people I was hanging out with, literally every area of my life was changing, and I was the one in charge of this change. I knew it was coming since April of 2021, and I had some mixed feelings around this decision. I was excited, yet terrified, as to whether or not this would all pan out in my favor, or if I would have to return to the corporate world with my tail between my legs. So I took to asking and answering questions for myself, and they were as follows. My why question is, why am I doing this? And the answer is because this is my passion. This is what makes my heart so happy. And sitting behind a desk working for someone else feels soul-sucking, that I would rather take the risk and lose it all than live a life out of purpose and full of regret. My what question is, what am I going to do if I see myself blowing through my savings? And the answer is, find other ways to make money if I can't make it doing this business alone. Maybe this is picking up side interior design work like I did, I think 2 falls ago, walking dogs, babysitting, or personal training, which is what I'm doing right now. There's actually a little exercise you can do to help your brain around making money if you're listening and you want to be able to ditch the corporate world for your own thing. And it's called 50 Ways. What you do is set a timer for 20 minutes and you try to come up with 50 different ways you can make money based on your interests, skills, ideas, literally anything from being unrealistic for yourself, or myself when I say this, like selling your underwear to men in prison, to something more realistic like babysitting. You probably won't get to all 50, but it will help you take a step back and see all of the different ways you can fund your life. Then you'll go through the list and highlight the ones that are actually reasonable and you would be willing to do. Tangent aside, go do that exercise if you want to. Those are the why and what questions. My how question is, how will this be possible? To which I respond with, don't spend money foolishly, hire a business coach, and try your damn hardest to succeed. And I did all of that, and I continue to do those things. But those questions helped me get more behind this decision. Yes, the feelings of nervousness, fear, maybe even self-doubt will continue to surface even 2.5 years after I made the choice to change my entire life. But I can keep reminding myself of these questions and answers to calm my brain down from wanting to run in the other direction and feel confident in continuing to pursue this change. And this year, 2024, has been an extremely successful year for me so far, and I could not be more proud of the growth and development I've experienced in my life and in my business. But again, it doesn't mean those moments of self-doubt or fear are forever gone, but they do keep me humble. This exercise also helps me connect back to my genius brain that is helping me make an aligned decision with my passion, because we have 2 types of brains. There's your human brain and your genius brain. Your genius one is what decided to make the change in the first place, and your human one is what's wanting to hold you back and wanting you to play it safe. The resistance you feel or the negative emotions that come up around making this change that you're deciding to make is your human brain trying to talk you out of it. Any positive emotions, like for me, it's my excitement and sense of fulfillment, are great reminders of all the good things that are to come by following through with this change. And that's my genius brain. Now, when the change that is occurring is unexpected or out of your control, the question asking might have to be to someone involved and not to yourself, so that you get the answers and information you need. For example, a new client came to me when he found out he was about to lose his job. It was 2 weeks before his mid-year review, and his manager told him that it's in his best interest to start looking for a new job. Losing your job is probably one of the most defeating moments in adulthood, and it usually comes in the form of being blindsided. I think losing a relationship that you thought you were going to be in for forever is also tied for first, but we're going to be on topic for the job thing for right now. So this client came to me right before his mid-year review was going to take place, and we got to come up with these questions that he needed to ask at the review and also for himself. I had him ask his boss, what happens next? As in, how long will this process take? When is my last paycheck? When does my health insurance run out? What are the next steps I need to take to close the store? I had him ask, why is this happening? He knew why. He knew that this job wasn't for him. He took it because he qualified for it, but it really was not something he was interested in, so he wasn't performing to the standards his boss required. So this why question was more so to gather information of where he can improve and what he exceeded in to prevent this from happening in a future job. Meaning, asking for his strengths and weaknesses and just an analysis of them. The how question is where I come in. How can he best prepare for this job loss? And how can he take care of his mental health so he doesn't lose himself in the process? These questions can be a mix and match of outsourcing and insourcing, but you need to gather as much information as you can to help your brain think more logically rather than based on assumption or guess or emotions. Sometimes you might not even know you needed some of the information you're collecting through this question asking process, and that's why we do it, but you need to understand the why behind the changes to help with your own compliance. The why, what, and how will help your brain get a better grasp behind what is going on and the unfamiliarity and negative emotions that arise with it. Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, change is good for you. You can't grow where you're comfortable, and change forces you to step into the discomfort. Change is also going to help you achieve a different outcome. Unfortunately, it's impossible to predict as to whether that outcome will be good or bad, but at least you are doing something to achieve a different result. Otherwise, you fall into Albert Einstein's definition of insanity, where you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. So, once you ask these questions, calm your brain down and get to a place where you can think at least a little more rationally, then it's time for you to do one thing that is within your control to move through this change. When things are changing, it's really easy to fall out of control of what's happening, but you need to get in the habit of taking charge of your life and everything that's happening in it. It's why my transformational system that I take my clients through is called Own Your Life, because by the end of us working together, you will be able to take full charge and ownership in what's happening and have confidence in what to do about it. You are the common denominator to everything that happens in your life, all the good things and the bad things. Embracing the changes happening in your life are only going to make you stronger, thereby improving your quality of life as you continue on your never-ending personal growth journey that is accompanied with never-ending changes. Annoying, I know, but this is what it means to be able to embrace the big changes that occur in your life and how change is a choice. You get to choose how you look at the situation and where to go from there. It can either consume you or help you grow. The world is constantly changing. It's evolving, and your ability to take charge of what's happening in your own life is crucial to your ability to keep up with the world around you. Or, in other words, your ability to be successful. Otherwise, you get caught up in victim mode and playing the blame game where it's always something or someone else's fault. And honestly, sometimes it is someone else's doing, but it's what you do with that experience that matters. I always go back to last summer when I was at the peak of my depression and in the midst of a friendship breakup. I kept blaming this person for what was going on in my life, when the truth is, the incident is a reflection of him and his character, but the depression, the waiting game of hoping to be invited somewhere by someone else in that friend group, and the feeling sorry for myself, that was all on me. My business taking a hit as a result is on me. Yes, I needed time to heal, and I was honestly completely unaware that I was self-sabotaging in this way, but looking back to last summer, everything that happened after this person lied to me and completely abandoned me after 8 years of friendship is on me. I was in charge of finding new friends for myself and changing the way I view friends, my life, and myself. And once I did get a grip on that level of control, the change came more naturally. Change is going to continue happening in your life whether you like it or not. You're going to have different relationships, different friends, different jobs, different interests, and different seasons in your life that will either be your direct choice or something that just happens. Regardless of what it is, this change is going to force you to pivot and enter those uncharted territories. But hopefully, by now, you're able to better understand how you can deal with these never-ending life changes so they don't overpower you, but help you grow and evolve into your next version. And if you need help navigating these waters, then please reach out to me. one of the biggest things I help my clients with is their confidence around a major transition that's happening in their life. So, if you listen to this episode and you want the hand-holding I provide so you don't have to do this all on your own and have it take 3 times as long to figure out, then go ahead and click the Let's Chat link in the show notes and schedule a time to talk to me. Otherwise, this does conclude another episode of How to 20-something. Thank you for being such a committed listener for all of these episodes. If you liked what you heard, if you know someone who is going through a major change in their life or is about to, or if you want to support me and the growth of How to 20-something, then please share this episode. Post it on social media and tag me at coach.justdiamond when you do. Send it to a friend that needs to hear it. And as always, I can't wait to be in your headphones again next week with another brand new episode.